So we're talking about the program update and the new CTE Information System today. The learning outcomes that we have, what we're going to be covering are the purpose of the program update, how the program update data are used, and also how you can access the CTE Information System, as well as an explanation of all the necessary school level tasks to complete for the program yearly update. So we'll start with the purpose of the program update. The programmatic purpose of the update is that it is your school's yearly opportunity to adjust any program details and showcase any changes in the program design for your career area specialist. This just allows for programs to continue to evolve over time, but also to make sure that the school information system, the school's student information system, and the ODE system match each other for what we're expecting to see during the CTE collections in the spring on the course and student data. So again, we're looking for just making sure we get aligned between all of the ODE records and the student information system. Just want kind of a direct translation of the program ID, the courses in the program, just making sure we enter that the schools have all of that information correctly entered and updated for ODE's system. So how the program data are used. First, we're going to talk about the CIP codes. The CIP CIP codes are what we use to track any student progress in specific programs. It doesn't just follow the student ID, it's also specific to the CIP code. This impacts both our federal reporting for Perkins 5, when we are talking about things like concentrator status achievement among schools. It also impacts the grant allocation for our state career pathways grant. The course numbers are another element of the program update data, and the course numbers validate entries that will come in the spring CTE course and CTE student collection. As a note, some of the common issues that we see in course number validation is that some course numbers are entered with leading zeros in the yearly program update, but then they are not entered with those leading zeros when the spring collections occur. And it's fine to have those leading zeros. Some school systems automatically populate the leading zeros. So we're not asking you to necessarily take those out, but you just need to keep an eye out for if you have leading zeros in the program update, you need to also include those in the spring collections to make sure we have a match. Also, sometimes course numbers are entered incorrectly, just like typo kind of stuff. So keep an eye out for that, because any course numbers entered incorrectly in the program update can cause errors preventing submission or accurate counts in the spring collections. Just a little visualization of that type of an issue. Down on the bottom here, we see that in the institution's student information system, the third class there is AG3, but it was entered in as ABC3 into the program update. So then when it comes over to the far right column where we are representing the CTE student and course collections, that AG3 entered in the course collection, though correct and true to what actually happened, will not be validated when we match it against what we have in our ODE systems, and we'll get some errors there. There is another component of the course numbers, and that is course number issues to watch out for, and that's some courses have a shared number for multi-term courses. But the CTEIS needs distinct course numbers for each part of a series. If you have multiple parts, we have a best practice listed here to have something like 0.1 or 0.2 to indicate which part, because the CTEIS auto deduplicates, meaning it will only keep one entry if there are identical looking entries. And that means that your school may only get a half count of credits for any students who took both parts of that program, will only end up getting credit for them for one of those. Now, there are also some course numbers that utilize section numbers. And again, this is something that varies by school, so it may not be an issue for you. But if you have a multi-term course that operates under one course number and then is broken into sections with distinct section numbers, you will enter into the program update just that one course number that you want to give the total credit value that is available in that under that course number. Then in the spring CTE course collection, you'll have two different entries for a student who has taken both of those courses. The course number can show up the same there as long as a unique section ID is entered in each row. So you can see in this bottom portion here, there's the line says intro to music, course number 12345, section number S1, and then the credit value designated in the course collection is that half credit. Then there's a separate entry for intro to music, course number 12345, section number S2, and another half credit for the credit value. So as long as that course section number combination is unique for each row you enter in the CTE course collection, that is sufficient and will work for any programs that have section numbers attached to them. You just won't enter the section numbers in the program update. Just as a quick recap on these data entry reminders, that if you enter course numbers with leading zeros in the program update, take care to include those leading zeros when you submit to the CTE course collections in the spring. Also, year-long courses should have distinct course numbers for each part of the series, and utilize the section numbers in spring CTE course collections for any year-long courses if you are entering a year-long course as a single course number. Now, Carly is going to take over here talking about access to the new information system.
Okay, so I think most people have heard by now that we have changed our data system that we're using for the yearly program updates and other parts of CTE for programs. And so we now have the CTE Information System that people are needing to get access to versus the old system, which was the CTE program update that is being decommissioned. So to do the yearly update this year, you need to make sure that you have access to the CTE Information System. That's what it's called, CTE Information System. So if you haven't already gotten your access set up, you'll need to contact your district security administrator to get those permissions. If you aren't sure how to get a hold of your district security administrator or who that person is, there is a website and you can go on there and look at your district and find out who it is that you need to contact. And we will share a handout. Oh, Rebecca just put it in the chat. That handout has all of the links on it that we'll reference during the training today, including the link for looking up your district security administrator. And when you are contacting your district security administrator, you want to make sure to clarify with them that the permissions you're looking for need to be given for the specific school, not for the district, which is a little bit different than it's been in the past. And we'll talk more a little bit later about why that is, but it is important that the permissions be set up for a specific institution versus at the school district. And once you've been given your CTE Information System permissions, you will log into the district website and you will see it listed there in your list of applications. And then you'll click on that CTE Information System to get in and start working on your program yearly update. So the applications, this is kind of what you'll see when you log in to the district website. That first screenshot there, the applications, those are the ones that I have. And so you'll see CTE Information System, Oregon Department of Education. That's because when I log in, I'm logging in as ODE to view the program update, the CTE Information System, to see the CTE Information System, where I would do the yearly program update. The other view there is kind of what it would look like more for the local admin or for a regional coordinator when they would log in their list of applications. You can see that there's a whole list there. So they're going to see, or you're going to see all of the institutions that you would be connected to. So Hillsborough High School, this is a little all over the place because it's an example from someone in IT, but you're going to see CTE Information System and the school name, or CTE information, and a list of those schools that you're associated with. So for a local admin who works in a district with more than one school, you're most likely going to have a list there like I have in that second lower screenshot. And if you don't have that, if you only see CTE Information System and then the school district name, it's likely that you're not going to see the information that you need. When you actually click and get into the CTE Information System, it's going to be blank. So it's important that you're asking for those permissions at the school level and not the district level. And the other thing, when you are asking for your permissions to be set up, which is kind of what we were asking in the beginning, what your role is in this process, there are 3 permission levels or roles that the new CTE Information System has for people, which is a little bit different from the old system. I did not realize that until I got a list of everyone who had access in the old system and saw that everyone was a regional coordinator, which was kind of surprising to me. But in the new system, we have lead teachers, local admin, and regional coordinators. The local admin, while it is called a local admin, it does not mean that it is actually an admin person. It is somebody at the school or at the district who would be helping with the yearly program updates. I'm not sure why they titled that because it is a little bit confusing for folks, but that can be anyone, whoever's going to be helping with the yearly program updates. The difference between a local admin and a lead teacher is that a lead teacher will only see their programs when they log in. If they have only one program, then that's all they're going to see. If they have a few programs, then they're going to see those couple programs. Local admin is going to see all of the programs at the school. So if they are assigned to just one school, like most districts just have one high school, they're only going to see those programs at that school. But if you work in a district that has multiple CTE sites or multiple schools with CTE, you're going to see all of the programs associated with all of those schools, and not just one program. And that's the only difference between those 2 roles. What they can do in the system is the same. It's just the amount of programs that they're seeing. And there can be more than one local admin at a school. And a local admin and lead teacher can be the same person, because I know some schools have like maybe one teacher who kind of is like the CTE coordinator that helps all of the teachers with their program update. And if that's the case, then that lead teacher would have the lead teacher access for their own program. And then they would also have the local admin access so that they can help with all of the other programs at that school. So once you have logged in, you've made sure that you have your appropriate permissions set up, and oops, did I skip a page? Sorry. Nope. I skipped a page, sorry. This is the home page. So when you get in and you've clicked on the CTE Information System, this is what it's going to open up and look like. This is the home page. So you'll see the yearly updates, the Start Program of Study application, reports, help, all of those buttons, which if you click on the button, it will take you to the same task that if you clicked on the taskbar on the left-hand side. It's just two different spots to get to the same location. There is a message there on under those buttons. That message can be changed. We can update that with important information. You can see there the training information is there for people if they haven't gotten it. If there is information we want everyone to know, we will put it in there. That is kind of just a live message that we can update at any time. And then I put boxes around the things that at this point will be most pertinent to you probably as we get started with the program update. The program yearly update tab or task there on the left-hand side, that is where you will see a higher level view for program status. So if you're a teacher and you go into that program yearly update, you're going to see the status of your program. You're going to see that it's waiting for updates. And then as it moves along, you'll see kind of it, how it moves along. And I'll show another screenshot of that. But my tasks is where you'll go to complete your part of the program update or for applications. But that's where you'll go to see what's waiting for you. So right now, regional coordinators wouldn't have anything in their My Tasks unless a school has submitted to a regional coordinator already. It's all going to be the teachers and local admins who are going to see the programs in My Tasks when they get in there. And then also very helpful, and I would recommend that it is being utilized for this first round of program updates, but the help section, there is an FAQ in there, and we have been putting all of the questions that we've been getting in regards to the information system into that FAQ. So it's very likely that questions you might have will have already been answered, and they will be included in that FAQ section. There's also a glossary of terms, and then external links that we can link in there. So all of the resources that we reference or things that would be helpful for completing the program update or for CTE would be linked in those external links. So there's some good information in there. And then once you go to My Tasks and you've picked your program so that you can start working on it, this is what's going to come up. This is the program page. And you'll see what kind of program it is. This is a full program. If it was a startup, the application type would say startup. If it was a renewal, it would say renewal. There's the matrix form button, which we'll talk about in a minute. All the school information, the district information, the region, and then the program specific information. And everything that is grayed out is information that does not need to be changed or updated or can't be changed within your role or permissions. So all of this will be uploaded, except for the program framework. All of this will stay the way it is. None of that would need to be changed. It's just informational. So that's the top part. I couldn't capture the whole program page in one screenshot. So this is the bottom part of the program information. The multi-selects are new boxes that we will talk about. The teacher grid is that's teacher information. That is something that regional coordinators will deal with. And then community college grid, that is a new field also, but that's also within the regional coordinators' permissions to fill out. The assurances, if you click on that, you're going to see a lot of data migration in the fields. It's just going to say data migration, and that's because we did not have that information to put into the system on the program, because we have it on paper, and it was not in our old system. So don't worry about the initial approval assurances that are there. You don't need to look at that if you're a local admin or lead teacher. The comments boxes are grayed out. You won't need to do anything with them at this point. And then the comments, the larger comments box that is meant for the ODE education specialists as they look at your programs for approval for the yearly updates. So you don't need to worry about that as well. You won't see the save progress or submit. That's all done by the regional coordinators. But this is all of the kind of just the way that the program page is laid out and the information that's there. The multi-select boxes, like I said, those are new. Those can be updated by the lead teachers, the local admin, or the regional coordinators. But if you select that, it'll give you a drop down of the list of options that it would match what's there for like the spring collection, but it won't validate against the spring collection. So really this is just informational. If a work-based learning experience or a CTSO or the industry recognized credentials are input into these multi-select boxes, it's not going to mean that those are the only ones that can be submitted during the spring. At this point, it's just a way for us to kind of keep track on the program for what might be offered. And so those can be updated as you're doing your update. The teacher grid, like I said, that's something that the regional coordinators will have to update if programs have new teachers or teachers change, or also as they change, sorry. A lot of teacher information was preloaded into the system because we don't have that. We didn't do a great job of tracking teachers in the old system, which those of you who have done previous program updates would know. It was really hard to add a teacher to the old system, and it's a lot easier now. So hopefully we'll do a much better job of tracking that information and keeping updated lists of teachers for programs. So we did collect lists of teachers and preload them into the system to try to make that a little bit easier at this point. There are some teachers that we weren't able to preload into the system because we were missing some of their information. And if we weren't able to preload them or add their information up to this point, then you'll see this warning message and that like red box and that kind of fake information that just says lead teacher at ODE. If someone sees that, we just need to update that to the correct teacher information, which the regional coordinator would need to do, or I can help with that if you let me know. If you're a lead teacher, it's kind of confusing for the first year because of the way the system requires that lead. It requires a lead teacher to be in the information or on the program in the grid. And since we didn't have the information to migrate, that's why we had to add those like placeholder records. So if you're a lead teacher and you're logging into the system for the first time and you know that your access is correct, you should be seeing your program, and you're not for some reason, it's probably because your name has not been added to your program yet. If that is the case, then you can contact me, or you can contact the regional coordinator, and one of us will add you so that your name is on the program, so that not only do you have access from your DSA, but you are associated with a program, and then the program should show up in your tasks. If you don't have your name on the program, then it won't show up in your tasks, because the system's not recognizing that you're connected to any programs, because lead teachers only see the programs that they're connected to. If you're a local admin, and it's kind of the same thing. If you're a local admin and you know that your permissions are correct, and you log in, but you are missing programs, it's likely the same thing, that lead teacher has not been added yet. And you just need to let us know, and we will make sure that the lead teacher gets added, and that should fix the problem. Not something that you at the school level need to add or fix those, but you just let us know and we can get that corrected for you so that you can do what you need to do.
Carly, we have some questions in chat. I think you just at least partially answered some of them.
Okay.
Charlene says that some of the names of their programs of study did not carry over correctly and have a different name. Is this something that the regional coordinator should be fixing, that they contact the regional coordinator about if that is happening?
Okay, so I guess there's kind of two parts to that. For the names of programs, and we have streamlined all of the names of programs, so you can still continue to call the program what you would like at your school, but in the information system, all of the program titles will now match the title of the zip code. So it is likely that your program's titles have changed, and it's just because we're trying to make them all a little more streamlined and make the titles all match the zip code, so that when we look at a list of across Oregon, it's easier to tell which programs are come from the same learning area and cluster area and focus area to SIP, and it's just makes it all a little more clear for the pathway of the program. But in the way that you present the program at the school or the way that you advertise it, you can still call it what you'd like. That's up to you. It's just in the system where it'll have the name that we assign it. And for the warning here, the teacher endorsement does not align with the program of study. If your teacher has multiple endorsements, it's possible that when we matched the list from TSPC, it matched to a different endorsement area. That can be corrected or changed to be the correct endorsement. That's something like adding the teacher that the regional coordinator can do, or I can do if you let us know, and we'll just correct the endorsement to the right one for that program area. I think, does that answer your question?
Charlene put into chat, thank you. So I think she does feel that her questions were addressed. Yes, she says. And another question from Stacy is just how to get the basic access to the CTE information system. They go to the district site, correct? And then as long as their permissions have been granted, and that it should say the school level, not just a district, but on the district site, look for your school or look for CTE Information System, click that CTE Information System, and then there should be a menu of the schools that each person has access to.
Correct.
Rebecca is asking, where do I find the teacher grid? Is that something you want to talk about now, or is that in the next section? Do you want to just address it in the next section?
Yeah, no, so the teacher grid is on the main program page. So when you go in and you log in and you select, you click on the CTE Information System and it opens up that homepage. And then you go to My Tasks and you see your list, your programs, and you click Edit to get into the program so that you can make the changes. The teacher grid will be listed on that main program. And it's down kind of, not really at the bottom, a little in the middle, but it'll be the teacher grid and then the community college grid, and it's all like collapsed. So you just have to click on the little caret for the teacher grid and it will expand it.
And let's see, I'm having just a couple more questions here about accessing the information system. Pam says, when I click on the link to district home, it takes me to the old ODE site. I can still sign into the old site, but feel this isn't where I'm supposed to be. Does this mean I don't have the right permissions?
Yeah, so if you only see the CTE program update, those are the old permissions, and you'll need to get a hold of your district security administrator to request the CTE information system.
And I'm putting it back into the chat again. The CTE IS handout is available as a PDF, and there are hyperlinks there to information on how you can find / contact your district security administrator.
Correct. Yeah, there's a link on the district website for searching for district security administrators, and you can go in there and put your district and it'll bring up who you need to contact.
And I think that's it for now. We have some things for at the end of the presentation, but I think we can move on to the next section now. Thanks.
Okay, so school level tasks. So this is really where you all will be working as the local admin and the lead teachers, what you'll need to do in the system. And I think someone asked about this, but the important dates for the program update. So it opened, so for the schools, you'll have until December 17th to complete your program updates. That's when all of the school entries are due. And for those of you who worked in the old system, I think you'll know that we have always given dates on when the different levels should have their program updates done, but those were slightly flexible because the system didn't actually close. In the new system, your access will close on the 17th. So you do need to have at least started your program update by December 17th. If you have not started it, the system, like I said, will close, and it's going to roll over all the information from the previous year for the new year. And then regional coordinators have until January 21st to look over what they've gotten from schools and send it on to the next level for ODE to look at, or send it back for the schools if adjustments need to be made. And then it would go back to them and then eventually come to ODE. But January 21st is when the regional coordinators access in the system will close for the yearly update. And February 28th is when the program update closes, and all of the programs should have been had their reviews done for their yearly update and looked at by ODE, by the education specialists, and all of the programs hopefully will be reviewed and completed, and the system will close on February 28th. So December 17th, I guess, is just like a really important date to remember if you're a lead teacher or a local admin. So most of the data from our old system has migrated to the new system. So you won't have to start from scratch. You won't have to enter everything brand new. All of the course information should have transferred over. We are finding that there are some courses that didn't transfer over, and I don't know yet if IT has figured out why that is. But if you do find that some of your courses didn't migrate, I apologize. And they will have to be entered, which is unfortunate. So I'm sorry about that, because we did say that everything would migrate, and I don't know why those didn't, but so the course name will be there, the course number, the skill level, which is the advanced, intermediate, introductory, that will still be there. The credit amount, the course descriptions, all of that should be there for the courses that migrated. And it was most courses. When I say that there might be some that didn't, it wasn't that many. So don't worry, because your courses should be there. The NCES codes migrated. You may run across a course that migrated but doesn't have the NCES code. And that's because the new system has a drop-down list of NCES codes versus the old system where you can just put in whatever you wanted. Now, there are allowable lists of NCES codes that go with each program zip code. And so if you have a course that migrated but it's missing the NCES code, it's possible it's likely it's not on that drop-down list. If you feel like it should be there and it's not there, let me know, because I can add them as one-offs. But for the most part, they should be good to go. But if you do need one, let me know. Some of the fields that didn't migrate, and it's because we didn't have that information in the old system, those multi-select boxes that I mentioned earlier for the work-based learning, the CTSOs and the industry recognized credentials. The community college alignment is a little bit different in the new system than it was in the old system. We used to look at specific courses that were connected to a post-secondary program, and that's what you would put in for your post-secondary alignment. In the new system, it's much easier. You select just the program, or the regional coordinators will select the program at the community college. They don't need the actual course information. So that information didn't migrate because it wasn't in the old system. The teacher information, which I went over, that didn't migrate, and those acknowledgements, because they also were in the old system. So those ones won't have migrated, but all of the course information should be there. So for the schools, most of what you will need should be there, because it will have migrated. And all of that course information is held on the matrix. So when you're on that main program page, I mentioned there's that little matrix form box, and that's a button, and just can't really tell in the screenshot, but that matrix form is a button, and you'll click it and it'll open up all the course information for the program. And it'll open up on the matrix that, or a crosswalk. And that's where all of the courses will be added or updated or deleted, just like you would have done previously in the old system. There's an action field, and that action field is for editing and deleting courses. You can add courses. There's an add course button at the bottom of that matrix that opens up. And when you push add course, it'll bring up all of the fields that you need to add in. The NCES code and the course description are collapsible fields. So there's little buttons there right above the action row. And if you click those, it'll expand the NCES code and the course description. Because course descriptions can get so long, we didn't want to leave them open all the time, so that it was a lot of distracting information. So you can hide them or display them as is easiest for you. As you're doing the matrix and updating that course information, you can save progress. If you need to leave the matrix and do something else and then come back into it, save your progress. There is the submit matrix to regional coordinator box down there next to add course and save matrix. And once you have selected that box, that means you're done. That's the submit to regional coordinator. So once you've done that, the program will submit and it will no longer be in your tasks for you to do anything on. If you submit it to the regional coordinator and realize that you still need to make an adjustment, since it's no longer in your tasks, what you need to do is go to, you would have to kind of go a roundabout, but I will show you where to go, sorry. But you can edit the matrix to bring it back to your tasks and then make the changes that you need to make that you realize didn't get done, and then you can resubmit it. One of the fields that's no longer there is whether a course is required or optional. That's because we don't keep track of required or optional for courses any longer. So you won't see that there. And I don't know how many of you have seen those old crosswalks that used to be a paper form. Hopefully teachers have seen those, but local admin, I don't know if that's something you would have seen. So we have combined a couple processes that, which is why you might not have seen that old crosswalk before, but we have put that kind of in the system. So the KS statements, the list of statements or the code numbers that you see listed here that go all the way across, that is a crosswalk of knowledge skill statements that go with each focus area or zip code for a program. And the boxes there are a way to align those knowledge skill statements or organ skill sets as they are. It's called both, but align the courses with the skill sets. And so you would click the box to show that a course aligns with the skill set. Hopefully that is something that lead teachers, you can either, if lead teachers are helping, if you're the teacher and you're in the program and you're helping with the course information, those are boxes that you would select. If you're a local admin and you're not sure what to do with that, you can check with your teachers to find out how to check those boxes. Unfortunately, the matrix is not in a printable format for this initial rollout of the program information or the information system, but we do have those crosswalks or matrix on our website, and you can get it there to print out or email or however is easiest for you and your teacher, so that you can check with them to see where the boxes need to be checked. This year, those boxes are not a mandatory field. So if you submit without checking the boxes, you can submit just fine. In following years, those boxes will be mandatory fields. They'll need to be checked. And we would hope that this year, as you're doing the course information and your update, that the boxes do get checked, but we know that it is a hard year for changes, and this was a big transition, and timing was not great. So we understand that the boxes might not get checked, and that's going to be okay. But yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest difference for people who haven't seen this matrix before is checking those boxes within the system itself. Okay, so after submitting the matrix, the lead teachers and local admin, your portion of the program yearly update is done. Like I mentioned before, you can follow along the status of the program going through the update process if you want. You'll also receive email notifications as it moves along the statuses. And this is a screenshot here of that yearly update tab. If you click on it, what you'll see. So when you first click on it, you'll see all of the programs that you need to work on that are waiting for updates. And then once it's submitted, a program has been submitted to a regional coordinator, it'll move along the status there to submitted to RC. Once it's submitted to ODE, it would move and all the way to accepted. And lead teachers and local admin will get emails once the program has moved. Once they have submitted it to a regional coordinator, they would get an email as well as the regional coordinator. And then when the program has been looked at by ODE, they would also get an email letting them know whether it was accepted or whether the education specialist has something they have questions about. And so trying to help with communication to make sure that everyone knows what's happening with that program update. And so, yeah, this is the yearly update. I accidentally put it in here twice, but then, so you can tell that that one is a little bit more at the program level. And those statuses are the same as they have been in the past, waiting for updates, submitted to regional coordinator. In the My Tasks area, it's a little bit different information. When you get into My Tasks to look at what you need to do, you can see the district information, the program name, who your regional coordinator is, what kind of application or program, the status. So that status is going to match whatever it shows in the yearly update section. The last time it was updated and whether or not the matrix has been completed and the action is edit or view or whatever. And that is for both the yearly update tasks and for any new applications that get submitted within the system. Something I didn't mention yet, but is important. Those blue question marks that you see there, those are help tabs, and those are on all of the pages. Any page that you click on will have those blue question marks. And if you open that, it'll expand the help section, and we can put, again, links and stuff in there. So that's a great place to look for resources. On the program page, if you were to click on that little blue question mark at this point, there is a link in there that is a step-by-step video tutorial that will take you through filling out the matrix. So super helpful. It's not a long video. I would definitely recommend watching that the first time you're trying to do your matrix, because it'll, like I said, it's step-by-step. It's going to take you through exactly what you need to do to get your program update done and out of your tasks. There are other parts to the system, which we didn't really go over today, just because I know people are really just trying to get their program updates done at this point. But the other parts of the system are cool. This is where applications will be done and submitted. And the application looks exactly like the program page that I showed you. So the data fields won't be any different. Hopefully this gives people some more, or makes people a little bit more comfortable with what they're looking at, since they won't just be looking at that program system once a year. This system doesn't ever close like the old program update system does. It closes on those specific dates so that updates can't be done anymore, but the system itself, the information system at large, is always open to you, and you can do other things in there that you need to do, like look at reports. It's going to be where reports are. So the decision chart, these are the reports that are in there, or some of them. The decision chart shows all of the approved programs of study in Oregon. So that's neat to look at. If you have questions, you can filter it. If you're looking for other programs that are similar, or what another region might offer, or what another district might offer, or et cetera, et cetera. The decision chart is great. The programs about to expire is all of the program information, and you can look at it by end dates to see what might be coming up that you need to think about for programs for renewals. The community college and high school alignment report is really exciting because we have not tracked that, at least in a very long time. And this will show all of the secondary and post-secondary institution or programs that have alignment with each other, or that have articulation. And you can look at that by program area, or you can look at that by community college. And so that's a really exciting one for us to actually have that. And program contacts is accessible for the regional coordinators, but they can look at all of the lead teacher and local admin information that is in the system. If changes need to be made, or if they are looking for, again, maybe a teacher at a program in a different part of the state, that could be helpful for them. And then the help section, which I already went over a little bit, but as we continue to use the system, there will be more information on these other parts. But like I said, we just really wanted to give people information right now on how to do their yearly updates, because I know that's the current fire that people are trying to put out. And then Rebecca has been putting this link in the chat as we've been going through, but we have this handout that has helpful links on it, and also kind of a summary of some of the slides, as well as some questions we've received. So short FAQ sort of, but that handout is really helpful. It also has the link to that tutorial video I mentioned, the step-by-step, really helpful. I highly recommend that video as you're trying to complete your matrix and get the program update done. So that handout is really good. Please feel free to share it with whoever. We will send out a copy of the slides we went over, as well as a recording of the presentation. The copy of the slides will come quickly. The presentation recording will probably take a little bit longer to get out, but we will get it out. And then all of those resources are also linked in the information system. So you should have access to them at any point if you're in the information system as well. I think that is all of our slides. And but we will hang out for a while and continue to answer questions, because I believe that they have been continuing to come in. I have seen the chat just like going, but thank you everybody for being here. And yeah.
Thanks, Carly. So don't worry if you don't hear your question asked necessarily in the order it was submitted to chat. I will get to all of them, not exactly going in the order they were entered though. So Carly, there were two questions that came up rather recently about viewing and accessing the approved programs. Mickey asked if the entire approved program list is available, it will be available from the ODE CTE website. And related to that, Charlene asked if there is a way to print out the program of study and courses with their details included from the new system.
So the approved programs website that everyone knows and loves and utilizes so much is still there. It will continue to be there until we have something to replace it. We did have to request an extension to use that through the federal, like civil rights. I don't remember exactly because it doesn't meet accessibility requirements. So at some point that will be replaced. It is still good information through last year, and but it does not connect to the new information system. So, which is unfortunate because I love that website also, or that report also. It is very helpful and I utilize it every single day. So it's kind of hard for me to say that because I know how much people appreciate it. So you can still use it after people begin making their program updates for this year, for the 21-22 year. It won't be accurate for 21-22 because it's not connected to the new information system. It's still good for historical information though. And at some point, hopefully by the 22-23 school year, we will have a new report that replaces it that's similar and offers the same information, just in a slightly different format maybe. I did check, we checked with IT about that last week because we know how important that website is to everybody. And for printing out the program of study and courses with details, you can print out that decision chart, which doesn't have perfect course information detail, I guess. You can look at the approved program report, which will help you. It has all the course information. It would be a good place to start if you're wanting to like compare what's in your system to our system. Like I said, once you start making adjustments to it in the information system, that approved program report won't be accurate anymore, but it would show you where we're at for right now to get started. The other thing is I sent out a Excel sheet to all of the regional coordinators a couple weeks ago. And if they need another copy of it, I can send another one, or you can ask me and I can send it directly to you. But of all of the course information that we have, so if an Excel is easier to look at, then we could send that to you, or you could get that so you have all your course information and then you could print that out.
So, Carly, does that mean that we could contact you, LBLESD could contact you personally and say, here's the list of schools that we need the approved list and we need a CSV file?
Yep.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Carly. Another question from chat. This was also from Nikki, that came in quite a bit earlier, asking if the unique section numbers is a new or recent change. She said that her schools have always reported the sections and terms, but have been having errors generated from their entries about year-long courses for about the last 5 years. So I was just wondering if you have any info on that. Is this something that is new for this year or this system?
No, so the section number has always been part of, I believe, I haven't really, last year was the only year I really helped with the spring collections. The section number doesn't go in the program update, but it's on the file format for reporting in the spring. So it's not, as far as I know, new. It's just that it can help. If schools utilize the section number, it can help differentiate those year-long courses to avoid the deduplication, like Rebecca said, during the spring upload.
Yeah, it's been there for probably, I don't know, 12 or 15 years, and it's just been in the last few years that it hasn't been used and was generating errors. So most of our schools have redone their course catalogs and changed everything to semesterized courses, but it's just interesting after we spent all these years getting them to correct their course catalogs and make individual courses that now they're going back and saying, oh, you can use a year-long course now. Well, I recognize that term.
I think because some people just continue to use year-long courses, we just like to remind people that it's not gonna, it's better if you can separate them, but if you can't, if,
It
everyone's
won't error out.
right.
Okay, good.
Yes, to back up what Carly was just saying, the best practice is to have unique course numbers for each portion of the course, meaning like each section, something that is called a section. But because some school systems, whether by the technology or different elements of management, of administration, can't necessarily update those to use that best practice. So we wanted to make something available. Pam, I see your hand raised. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, actually, I have a comment to what was just addressed, is that we have so many programs and so many courses at North Clackamas, the Saban Schellenberg Professional Technical Center. And over the years, working with several of the regional coordinators, over the years, we have changed from year-long courses to now the 2 different semester courses, or however terms you're using identifiers at the end to indicate if that's that course, that year-long course is a semester 1 portion of it or semester 2 portion of it. So we'll end up a course number in 2-1, meaning it has 2 semesters in the year-long course, and the 1 at the end means it's the first semester. And so if it's a 2-2, it's a 2 semester course year-long, and that one ending in 2 is the second of the semesters. And then that goes in the program update. And then we have all the section numbers that are reported at the end of the year. And that aligns then with our program update. And again, we've had to go back and forth redoing all these course numbers and course catalogs. And again, the program update, but it's really helped a lot, because we found also that dealing with the articulation agreements, that sometimes course content that is awarded the college credit may only lay in the first semester of the course. And so then it's identified specifically then with that semester course number. Yeah. And then semester courses that are just strictly a semester course in length end in 2-0. So, but everyone can do, anyone can do their own, but we found that with all our courses and course numbers, that has been very simplistic for us and has worked out very well with our reporting.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Pam. Yeah, that's the example of being able to identify when/where a student specifically earns credit that is transferable for college, or able to be counted for college credit, is just a wonderful example of some of the benefits of having those more unique course numbers. Thank you. Back to some of the questions from chat.
Sorry, Rebecca, I'm going to interrupt. One question just came in, and I think it's important that we talk about it before we run out of time. Even though I know everyone has important questions, but we should have mentioned this. But Charlene pointed out that some of the zip codes have changed from what they had in the old system, and nice job noticing that. So we talk a lot about not, being careful with your zip codes and making sure that the zip codes match, because the credits follow the zip code. And that being said, during the data migration, we did condense the amount of zip codes in our old system to a new list that Oregon will be utilizing. So we went from about 150 zip codes in the old system to about 50 that all programs will utilize in the new system. And those have all been crosswalked in the background, so there won't be any negative effect on the programs whose zip codes have been adjusted for data collection purposes. So it's a good idea to look at that. Make sure you're checking your zip codes when you're doing your program updates, because it's almost like a opposite from normal to make sure that our system aligns with your system. Normally, you're checking yours against ours, but check those zip codes and make sure that they look good, so that you can update them in your student information system to match what we have. And if for some reason you can't at this point in the year, I don't know, because everyone has different student information systems and we don't have access to them. I don't know exactly the rules on that. But if for some reason you can't update them in your student information system at this point, we'll just need to make sure that during the spring collections, those get manually adjusted on your files that get submitted to us so that the zip codes match. So just something to pay attention to.
Thank you, Carly. Another question we have a question about the endorsements. Michelle says that they have a CTE teacher teaming up with a math teacher so the students can get math credit. And asks, how will the endorsement part work? I am wondering, does that mean the teacher with the endorsement needs to be listed as the lead teacher?
Yeah, the CTE teacher would need to be listed as the lead teacher. And for the students who are getting math credits, that's something that if there are more questions about that, it might be something that needs to be involving the career area specialist on how students are getting awarded their core credits in the CTE program of study, because normally those are separated. But if that is a more involved conversation, because usually the core credit NCES codes won't show up in the on that drop-down list for what should be an NCS code within that focus area or with that SIP code. So again, if you're trying to add a SIP or a NCS code that's not on that list, and it might be because it's like a math NCS code, let me know so that we can look at that and see if that's something we can add, or if that course is still going to need to have an NCS code that's connected to CTE.
Thanks. And Carly, I know we just have a few more minutes, so I'm going to just ask some of the questions that I think are more general rather than school specific. Gina asked, how are the programs of study that are in dormancy indicated in the new system?
They aren't exactly, because we have that other smart sheet where we're keeping track of dormant programs. So there isn't really anything within the information system that shows a program that's dormant. But as long as we have them on our smart sheet, then we're keeping track of them.
Okay.
They should, sorry, I have the chat. It's a good idea, I think, this year to still update them, at least to get it to like go through this first year and make sure that the information is there. And they don't, the guidance for dormant programs is that they don't need to do the program update process because they shouldn't be submitting information in the spring. So the system, it doesn't necessarily have to match and be aligned, because if they're not teaching the program, then they wouldn't be submitting information during the spring. But I don't think it would hurt to have everything be kind of updated for the year, at least to make sure that it has gone through this initial process and kind of gotten situated in the information system.
Sorry, I was just scrolling around in chat here, going back to some of the earlier questions. So the remaining questions all seem to be a bit specific to certain school issues coming up with specific schools. And Carly and I have saved the chat so we can follow up with you on any of these questions that we didn't get to. I know